Less than 10% of India's waste is treated. Less than 5% of India's sewage is properly treated. Less than, I mean, just to give an example, how many of us have the courage to go and pick up a water just like that from a tap and drink? We take water from tap, have a reverse osmosis plant in our house, and then heat that water, cool it, and then give it to our child. And why do we do this? And what do we do when we go to a hotel in London or Singapore? We are happy to pick up water from the tap. And where is this tap located? It's located inside the toilet. That's the only place it's located. We're very comfortable to go pick up that water and drink because it's the confidence we are able to lay to them that, it is treated well. So in India, in this sector, less than 5% is actually treated across the country. Hyderabad is one of the better examples of cities, but rest of the country, if you look at, less than 5% is treated, and therefore the opportunity awaiting is hundreds of billions of dollars, and I'm very confident investors are also prepared. Just to give you an example, almost all of the big investors, KKR, for example, has a fund called Impact Fund. TPG has a fund called TPG Rise. All of these funds are specifically allocated waiting for investments into this sector. And there are even debt bonds, green debt bonds. So there is capital waiting, but we need to chase the right methods and the right model.
And I think the government of Telangana has also taken a bet on sustainability and sustainability tech, not only for the cities and the state itself, but for the world, so to say. So I'm told that Nikhil here has to go for an MOU signing, but before he goes, I thought maybe I wanted to take a few inputs from him in terms of what the government of Telangana is thinking and doing, because business is not something that happens by itself, right? It's an ecosystem. And the benefits of Telangana in terms of the existing IT infrastructure, the talent, the 20 lakh odd medium and small medium-sized enterprises. How do you leverage all of this, and what has the state planned in terms of promoting industry?
Thanks Lobo for asking that question. First of all, this vision document, I'm happy that today night it will be unveiled. When you can... the same, we have been deliberating on this topic, how Telangana, for the 2047 $3 trillion economy, what all the sectors, how we should leverage the capital, whether it's abroad, whether it is domestic capital, and which sectors we need to do it. And to achieve our target of a $3 trillion economy, we have certain points already in place, which we will be showcasing in our vision document that will be released tonight. As one of our speakers have already told, one of the key factors which we are facing right now, issue which we are facing, is Indians are saving less. In order to get into the $3 trillion economy, we need to save at least 50%. The same has been seen in China. China has been the model for us. If you see our Honorable CM's statement in the plenary yesterday, we have been following the Guangdong model of growth, which is sustainable, which is using all the circular economy potential. As Mr. Gautam has already told, there is vast potential in the ESG space as well. However, instead of chasing the valuation, first danda to banao. As Deepinder Goyal, the startup Zomato founder, has said, you first make the business, you first prove the business, then chase the valuations. If you don't make the business and you just mindlessly grow for valuations, that doesn't inspire confidence in future as well. For suppose, as one of the speaker has told, 20,000 crores have been already gone into the sustainable economy. However, not much of profit into it. So to sustain that, few industries, RE sustainability is a few examples who are profitable, who are actually working into it. I have been in a privilege to work with them when I was in TGIIC. They are one of the few companies who are doing the CETPs, Common Effluent Treatment Plants, across the state and also in other states as well. So those are the models which were actually profitable, which showed the business model. Of course, everyone thinks there is this valuation, the global capital funds, the global funds or the domestic funds seeing valuations higher, but what are the proven business models which are there, and these business models, when especially in the ESG segments, are very sector specific, very domestic, very India specific, or very country specific. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We are just seeing what the other countries have did, especially countries like China. They have, first of all, to get such sort of setup, we need to increase our purchasing power within the domestic economy. We should grow in such a way that the consumers will demand such quality services, where the quality of standards rise, where they'll be able to pay for that services that are being offered. One of the few examples are the tap water services. As the standard of living grows, as the development takes its shape, as India strives to grow into its $15-20 trillion economy in next few decades, not only we should leverage our domestic demographic capabilities, but also increasing the purchasing power within the country. What China has done, we should follow a bit on that front. We should rely on our domestic market capabilities to attract investment, where even business will feel confident to invest in those spaces where people are willing to pay for the services that are given, especially with respect to environment and sustainable technologies. So it's not just a single solution that will encounter the entire situation. Many capitals, many big companies are working on that. I mean, it's a multi-pronged strategy, but however, Telangana has been forefront. We are willing to cooperate with the new technologies in biotech, in circular economy. I would like to bring one of my organization, which is Research and Innovation Circle of Telangana, of Hyderabad, in fact. It's a small Section 8 company under our Industries and Commerce Department, which funds the startups which work in this circular economy into biotech spaces. And we are more than happy that last few years we have been able to fund few hundreds of startups in that. Of course, some startups would fail, but we are still trying on to these technologies as well. So, I mean, once we test these technologies, once we test these business models, once we grow into that, once we increase the purchasing power capacities of the people, once they are willing to pay for the services that are going to be given by these technology companies, then only the entire circle fills, and the growth in the ESG space in the next 2-3 decades will happen. So I believe this is a more wholesome ecosystem that has to be developed, especially in this sustainable economy. Yeah.
Just to add, Rohan, as CII Telangana, we must say we are proud of our state's investments into ESG. In these sectors that I have just indicated, Telangana is probably one of the best. It has invested in bringing Krishna water from Nagarjuna Sagar, Godavari water from Malana Sagar and Kaleshwaram project from Singur, and has built all the sewage treatment plants at almost every single location, and 100% of the waste is treated. So I strongly invite a lot of people who are looking at investing in sustainability sector to look at Telangana, because it presents a beautiful opportunity, and we as CII Telangana are proud of Telangana government's investments into ESG.
So in India for India, India for the world, and if you've got a right idea, please come over to the government of Telangana, because the red carpet kind of gets opened. So that's the key message from Nikhil. But if I were to make a segue, Ankit, you have dealt with public-private partnerships, not only in India but outside of India. What are the lessons learned for Telangana to pick up?
Yeah, I mean, I can give 3 or 4 examples. We in fact also did a joint venture in China, and I think, I want to kind of, my view on this is sometimes contrary. I think in many ways China is actually really quite far ahead in terms of technology, both development as well as application, and equally both private sector and I would say especially on the government sector. One example I can state is in our own manufacturing facility in China, there are several incentives given particularly for technology investments, R&D investments, both at the city level, state level and national level. So once the government decides that these are the priority sectors, they go out of the way to encourage R&D investment, and we really see that in in dollars or RMB in this case. Another case I can give is equally in a partnership, private partnership we have in Italy. I think the similar example is where the government is really encouraging manufacturing and job creation. So we have expanded from about close to 100 jobs to almost now 450 jobs. And there's incentives again for improving the manufacturing, but also any investment that we spend on training the people, that's also partly funded from the government. Same exact thing we're seeing in the US, where there are clear incentives for both R&D as well as for job creation. In fact, the local universities are also incentivized to partner with the industry, and there are incentives for the university and the industry to work together. And significant, I mean, few $1,000s per year per person is allocated for that. So I think these are just examples of where the government is very clear on what sectors to prioritize, to definitely prioritize technology and R&D investment, and also to prioritize job creation. And I think there is no debate or dispute, so to speak, between what is promised and then what is delivered. So that gives also a lot of confidence to companies like ourselves to further expand, because when you create business models, when you create IRR models, you can really bank upon at least whatever the government is promising will happen, and this is real cash that comes into your company rather than promises or anything else. So I think that's something at a very simple level where the trust has to be built and has to be developed. And whether it is Indian companies and especially foreign investment, everyone speaks to each other, right? And people really want to look at examples, and people speak very positively if you do deliver on your promises, and you create that trust by actually executing on the ground. So I think to that extent, whatever Telangana has done, I think is a very good case study in India. Both when you look at GCCs, I think there are about 500 GCCs in India now, in Telangana. The ITES sector as well is very dominant. And my guess is Telangana will be the top 3 data center investment avenues as well over the next 5 to 10 years.
And that's the reason why you've put in a factory over here.
Yes, absolutely. So I think from our own investment, we worked closely with KPMG. There's 2 parts to it. Some of my colleagues are here from one of our businesses, STL Networks. We've actually gone out and worked with the government on a T-Fiber project. I'm happy to share that we are the largest partner today with Telangana government for a massive rollout of fiber network across the entire state into practically every village. And we are partnering with the government to really make sure that we execute on that, and we want to appreciate the government support. That itself is one part of it. We also work with telecom operators like Airtel. We are the largest partner for Airtel in Telangana and other states as well to roll out the fiber network. So I think that's a very, very core infrastructure in my view, just like electricity or roads. Fiber is the most critical infrastructure now. Having that robust infrastructure will also enable more data center investments, because one thing that we see is that if you need like a 2-path redundancy in other countries, currently India requires 5 to 6-path redundancy for some of the hyperscalers. So I think having that robust fiber infrastructure will really help Telangana going forward.
So it seems to me what you're saying is that the one thing that matters most is policy certainty.
Absolutely.
The market anyways exists, but the policy certainty is crucial for capital investments, especially because the payoff periods could be in a couple of years.
Absolutely. I mean, look, anything that you do on the infrastructure side, you're at least looking at between 5 to 10 years, right? And today, where effectively every state is competing for investments, this is one of the things that has to stand out, is that you build the trust, and it's just saying what you do and do what you say. I mean, and that has to pan out.
Mike, you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think when one comes to an event like this and sees I'm looking at the back, there's a master plan of the city, and I was looking at that earlier on, where you're actually seeing a long-term vision that goes beyond the existing city, beyond the existing ring road, that has a future city, that has a peripheral ring road around that. And you see, I'll go and look at it afterwards, but I can see something that's saying Telangana 2049 maybe on the side.
47.
27.
47.
47. You know, that is an indicator, and what we've seen in Hyderabad over the last 20 years as well, that builds confidence around that the plans become reality. That's not the case in every state in India, for sure. But that policy certainty, super important. A couple of points I just want to pick up that related to what was said before. So, ecosystem. So it tends to feed off itself in a virtuous way. So a manufacturer of fiber gravitates towards a place that has got data centers, or whether it's a hardware or software company will gravitate to where it can get the right skills. And so you get a virtuous circle, or conversely, it can go the other way. And I think it appears to me that Telangana is well on the way in that virtuous circle. But another point that I'd like to pick up, the one about skills and training, that in Italy or in other parts of Europe, US, the government is investing real hard dollars in skills and training. And the reason for that is that there's a real shortage of skilled labor, particularly in what one might call manual trades or blue-collar trades, not so much manual trades. I think, you know, that's a very interesting topic for India, particularly in the light of where we're going with AI. You know, I was chatting with some friends earlier on about some of these innovations are all well and good, but what about the jobs that are going to be lost in that regard, particularly at the lower skill end of the spectrum? And I think that one of the areas that there's a real skills shortage, frankly, all over the world, is for people who have strong skills around electrical engineering at a manual level. As we build data centers here, we don't want to be importing labor from where? From Singapore, from overseas, who've got skills around electrics. And India is a place that has a depth of STEM expertise that's fantastic, but maybe that's at the white-collar end. And maybe, you know, we can keep that virtuous circle going by looking at how can we empower people who are more at the blue-collar end and train them up and upskill them for this 21st century industry going forward.
So hard skills and also combine that with soft skills, but talent is going to be extremely crucial. It's everywhere. So, you know, I think we touched upon a couple of points around China, but I just thought maybe I'll share something called the integrated research platforms that China created in 2016 when the first sanctions hit. And what they did was around a university, around a theme. Let's take sustainability for an example. They got the venture capitalists, they got the manufacturing facilities, they got the services, they got everything in the ecosystem around that. And they've got about 30 integrated research platforms. And the Chinese model, as we all know, is software is free. You combine software into products, get value addition in the products, and build manufacturing facilities to drive those products. And all of that requires the skills Mike has been talking about, which is not necessarily only computer coding skills, but how to fix a bulb, so to say, right? Like, or how to wire a particular thing. So Gautam, I think, you know, what is that one capability in Telangana that you see is something unique for the state and that needs to kind of multiply and scale up?
See, I think anything to do with infrastructure in the state, we are already very strong. But one major change that we would expect that can probably increase the speed by 10 times is the reforms in the policy. Now, what kind of reforms? Today, if you look at, government has the job of developing infrastructure, and there are 3 areas of concern most investors have in this. First is corruption. Second is B2G versus B2C or B2B. And the third is dispute resolution. The first one is difficult to go away soon. It's going to take some time. So let's say there's predictability to it and people have learned to live with it and will learn to live with it. It has to come down, it will work. Now the second model is doable. Converting it from B2G to B2B and B2C is doable. Like instead of an annuity road, you can make a toll road. Instead of a industrial park, you can get the customers to pay for it. So a lot of infrastructure can be moved to customer-centric models than government-centric models. And the most important thing is dispute resolution. Today, disputes in India will take 2 generations. For sure, if there is a dispute with government, I'm not going to see that money anymore. It's going to be my son or my grandson or my granddaughter who's going to look at it, and I'm not going to look at it. That fear is good enough for you to be subdued to a bureaucrat or a politician. And that is the worst thing that has happened. And it's very easy to resolve. You just need to increase the number of courts. It's a cost that will be incurred one time for a period of 2 years. All issues will be resolved. And the dirtiest part that you see today, every agreement says amicable resolution. I cannot think of one amicable resolution in the country. Every agreement says arbitration and it cannot be appealed and it is binding. I have not seen one arbitration award which is binding. Every arbitral award is appealed. There are acts which say you have to resolve an appeal in 6 months. I have not seen one case that is resolved in 6 months of an arbitral appeal. Now, unless these reforms as a policy come up, which Telangana is good, it should double down on and ensure that if they change these 3 things, the entire infrastructure required in the state can come with 0 cost to the government, completely moving to people-centric cost model.
So what you're saying is between growth, between talent, opportunities, speed, agility, you're saying regulation is crucial.
Absolutely, regulation and policy, which will change the way people think. See, ultimately you have to get in, ultimately there's no lakhs of crores with people in the city or in the country. It's got to come from some foreign capital, and foreign capital have perceptions. And these perceptions have to be taken away, and they have to be taken away through a policy framework.
So Ankit, 2047, the 100th year of our independence, the ambition of Telangana is to have a $3 trillion economy, which is basically what we're saying is as big as India perhaps a couple of years back, right? Do you think it's possible?
Look, I'm an eternal optimist for India to begin with. I think there's no question in my mind that this is India's time, and if we just
Telangana's time too.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. So I think, look, it starts with the underlying tailwinds that we have as a country. And then within that, then I think very specifically to Telangana, it's down to like just, I think there's a lot of clarity around what the Vision 2047 is. I think there's a lot of work done around choosing what battles to fight. You cannot win in every sector. You cannot win in every business space. But I think there's a conscious choice. The 4 or 5 sectors that I've understood definitely is IT, ITES, pharmaceutical is very big. I think 1/3 of entire country's pharmaceutical sector exists here. And I think that will also evolve from just generics to plus very soon. I think there's no question that this will be a data center capital of the country. And I think the other part which has massive potential is also on the renewable part. So I think there are 4 or 5 clear areas that have been called out. On the medical side as well, there's work that is happening in the state which has a lot of potential. So I think starts with, good clarity on the areas of focus. I think that the 3 or 4 areas that we spoke about which could be potential roadblocks or reduce the pace of growth is only these 3 or 4. And I think particularly if there is clarity and confidence given that there is even work happening to resolve that through a consultative process with the industry, I think that'll take it ahead. And it is going to be competitive. It's not like other states are sitting around. But I think the initiative and the momentum that Telangana has, I think, is placing it well.
So you talked about tailwinds. Very quickly, Mike, what are the headwinds?
The headwinds. I think we are in a more competitive global environment. But on the flip side, the other side of that coin is that India is the largest growth economy of any significance in the world, 6.5% compared with Western economies that are between 0 and 2%. You've got that huge domestic demand side economy. I think we've talked about some of the, not so much headwinds, but some of the things that we need to be aware of. We need to be aware of the skills issue, the training issue. But India is blessed with, again, on the flip side of that coin, India is blessed with the talent that we started to speak about, which has a curiosity and energy that, as I travel around Europe and Asia quite a lot, I don't see the same curiosity, energy, and base academia, frankly. And so I think one can talk about headwinds, but the people that are in this economy are resilient and transformative. And I think that's going to continue just the way it has over the last 15, 20 years.
Thank you. And maybe I'll just move into the next quick session, 5 minutes, a rapid fire round. You got to tell the first word that comes to your mind, right? It's very difficult for us, but the first word that comes to your mind, right? It's very difficult for us, but first word that comes to your mind. So, Ankit, Telangana's biggest economic driver by 2030.
I want to say GCC. Yeah.
GCCs. Mike, the competitive advantage in one word.
People.
People, talent. Gautam's one sector Telangana must double down on, and you can't say sustainability.
Of course, for sure. I think Telangana should double down on manufacturing, aerospace and defense.
Manufacturing, I think aerospace, defense. Mike, the most investable mega trend today?
Energy data.
Energy and data, not AI. Make that clear. Gautam, what is the key green growth? Is it policy, capital, or innovation?
It's none of these three. I think the key blocker is the expectation versus financial linkage mismatch.
Well, Ankit, last one, most disruptive technology in one word.
I think there's no question it's AI.
It's AI.
No
so
question.
with this, maybe I'll just open it up for one or two questions from the audience. If anybody has any questions to the panelists, if I can also answer on GCCs if there is any question.
I just had one point to the earlier thing. I think I just want to touch on. It's not just about Telangana competing with other states. We've also got to be conscious that globally people will be looking at Vietnam very closely. People are looking now certainly with energy costs in the Middle East. I think that's going to be one to watch out for. And I think again, with possibly things somewhat settling between China and the US at some point, and China continue to grow at 5%, that will continue to be something that you just cannot ignore. So it's also going to be Telangana looking at its competitiveness globally as well.
I think on sustainability too, it's not just India or the other cities, but it's maybe Boston, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Shenzhen, it could be multiple cities. So that's a great point, Ankit. Any question? I think there's one question or two questions or three questions. And then there's 4. Maybe we'll just take one question, please.
They're not good.
I think that's what Mike says, curiosity and energy, but
Sir, one doubt, sir. Many European countries and developed countries rejecting these GCC investments. Why India attracting the GCC investments? Many developed and European countries rejecting GCC investments. Why India attracting the GCC investments?
I think the question is, why is India attracting GCC investments? I think the number one reason is talent, and the number two is cost. So finance and accounts resource in the US costs $79,000. In India, it's $16,000. So there is no doubt about the cost arbitrage that will come, and the talent, the person in India, apart from the fact that he can or she can do all the work, can also demonstrate a bit of curiosity, energy, and innovation and change and things like that. So I think those are the two main drivers of why GCCs are coming here. But the third one is also there, which is we are seeing a lot, nearly a third of the companies setting up GCCs anywhere in the world are actually mid-tier companies that are between $500 million to $1 billion of revenue. And the reason they come to India is because they want to build a future in India with the capabilities that are there in India, with the talent that is used to build new technologies and build their platforms and build the way they're going to compete in the future with the giants. And that is the reason they're coming to India. So, but it's not necessary that it will remain. What brought us here is not necessary that it will remain in the future. Because as Ankit said, when you have AI transforming the way in which you build, that means there could be an engineer, say in Ukraine, one-man show, who completely transforms a business process, and then you don't have your cost arbitrage advantage. So I think, I don't know if I answered that question, but that's probably the reason why India is seeing growth.
Hello.
So I've been told that, we have to close, but
Yeah.
I want to...
Here,
please,
here, here. Here,
please.
sir. Here, this side. This side. One last question.
Okay, last question, please.
How this energy landscape would be in the after say 20 years or so, because as the data is engine as well as AI data centers are this thing, that the energy consumption trends from China is they are less dependent on oil and petrol, as they have been migrating to say more of renewable energy. And how the global oil prices would pan out, and how India would have the energy sovereignty, because the energy and data are the two growth fuels. So how India would have a roadmap for the sustainability and green and clean life.
I know we are completely out of time. What I would urge you to look at is, I think we're going to be well on our way in terms of both renewable and thermal power generation. I think we're doing absolutely fine in terms of how that's progressing. I think the challenge we will clearly have is that on average a solar farm takes 6 to 7 months to set up post land clearance. Your transmission takes between 18 to 24 months if you're lucky. So the constraint is very much now in our country on the transmission side of it, possibly a little bit of distribution, but much more on the transmission side. As we speak, the government has more than $50 to $75 billion of planned investment on the transmission side over the next 10 years. I think that's going to be much bigger factor for both center and the state to solve for than the power generation itself.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you
please
so
a big round of applause to the audience, and thank you very much for patiently listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all the speakers, and thanks for the insights. Underline the strength of Telangana's investment climate and the opportunities that lie ahead. We now request Director Logistics, Arshad Sheikh Ji, to please come on the dais, please, to present the mementos to our speakers. The mementos being presented are from Telangana, the unique Pochampalli shawl, and along with the masks, the artwork from Cheriala. That was the memento presented to our guest from Singapore, to Mr. Mike Holland, and also now to Gautam Reddy Garu. A memento of appreciation to Mr. Ankit Agarwal. And of course, another memento for our moderator, Mr. Rohan Lobo, the man of the hour. Please put your hands together for all of them, for all the speakers, for this wonderful session. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sheikh sir. Yeah, moving on to the next session. I request all of you all who are standing outside to please come inside. And may I have the phones in the silent mode? We are starting the next session, which is the final session. The Global Capability Centers in Telangana, from scale to impact.
Good evening, everyone. So we have another session happening. So may I request all of you to please be seated. This is the last session and going to be a very interesting session. I would request each one of you to please be seated.
Thank you, speakers. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. Thank you, Lohan sir. Thank you so much. Yep. Yeah, moving ahead to the grand session on this day 2, the hall 3 here. Welcome back. Did you have a lovely, delicious lunch? Are you all fresh up, ready for the next session? Just we move on before to the tea time. So the second day of this Gala Global Summit that Telangana is hosting. I welcome you all to this session, Capital and Growth Investment Pathways, Financial Hub Strategy and High Impact Sectors. The Industries Department is hosting this, and now I invite the speakers and the moderator on the dais, please. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Nikhil Chakravarti, Director, Industries, Government of Telangana, to please come and occupy the chair on the dais, please. It's an honor to invite our guest from Singapore. Please put your hands together. Please, zordar taaliyan ho jaye for Mike Holland, AGIDC Singapore. Hearty welcome, sir. Please come and join the stage on the dais, please. Re-sustainability. The person behind this, the man behind this is Mr. Gautam Reddy. Please put your hands together and welcome Shri Gautam Reddy Garu on the dais, please.